Hello, thanks for clicking and welcome to the first ever The Week in Retrospect on the Mark Morse channel. I got this idea from a dear YouTube friend by the name of David at Garage Geek.
Welcome to Friday Night Chats with Garage Geek. I hope everyone had a great week.
So if the format looks familiar, that's where I got it from. I'm stealing his idea, but with his consent. He actually suggested this to me when we were talking one day, and he said, or I was complaining about, I'd like to talk about other things than just the vinyl. I love the vinyl. That's kind of what my channel has become. But there's other things I'm interested in, and I was struggling. Should I start another channel? And David suggested, I do this Friday night chat where I just talk about anything. And I'm like, I could do a week in retrospect where I talk about other activities I've been involved in or other collections or whatever is going on in my life. Share little personal tidbits, that kind of thing. And so that's what I'm doing with this video. I'm hoping it will be a weekly thing that I'll do on Saturdays or Sundays and cover about a week. Of course, I want to focus on the vinyl more than anything else. So I'm always going to start out with what I've been listening to, what I've been buying, anything interesting in the vinyl world. So my vinyl friends, you can watch this first part, and if you're not interested in anything I say after that, you can go on and do your thing. But I do want to talk about some of the vinyl I've picked up recently. And this is a picture disc. It's a 45 Yellow Submarine, the Beatles. And it is backed with Eleanor Rigby. Now, I love Eleanor Rigby. Yellow Submarine is special to me because my daughter, Luxy, when she was in grade school, they had a little concert and they did Beatles songs. And I always think of Yellow Submarine as bringing my daughter into the Beatles fold. She's a collector now, too. She buys vinyl and loves the Beatles. In fact, I did a video not long ago about the Yellow Submarine disc that Luxy painted for me. So then I saw this and I thought, you know what? I think I'd like this. Here's the funny thing. When I ordered this, I thought it was an open and played disc. When I got it, I found out it's still sealed. And that drives me crazy because I really want to take it out and listen to it and play it. And I might. But when I get something sealed like this, it's really hard for me to open it up. But I really do want to look at it. I want to see what's on the back there. I want to play it. So I might do that. But it's tough to do right now. Another record I picked up recently, and this might be of interest to my friend Kyle at the Pleasure Den of the Absurd, is Halloween Garage Blues. This is a compilation album, garage music, obviously. It has some great songs on here, some fairly well-known ones. I bought it mainly because I love the cover so much, and I have a thing for Halloween and scary vinyl. This cover was originally taken from a Roger Corman movie poster from a movie called The Undead. Of course, it didn't have that guitar in there. It had a sensuous woman in that coffin, but they redid it a little bit for the vinyl. There's like a series of these. There's like Halloween Punk 1 and 2, but this is the one that appealed to me the most. I got it for the cover mainly, and look at this inner sleeve. Isn't that awesome? And there's the song list. But the songs are really good, and it really plays well. It's if I were doing the Vinyl Voyage Party video again. I think I would use this album as one of the albums I would play at my party because it really is a fun album. She Cast a Spell on Me by Eric Gales and Gino. Swamp Creature by Kenny Neal. Zuzu Man, Dr. John. What else? I Want to Be Your Dog, Iggy Pop. It has that Fire song with Arthur Brown, with James Williamson and Carmen Apais. On side B, Hoodoo Man Blues, Junior Wells. Bad News Travels Fast, The Fuzz Tones. Rocket into Outer Space by Sylvain, who I think was part of the New York Dolls. Death Letter, Pat Travers. Don't Let the Devil Ride You, Leo Bud Welch. I Put a Spell on You by Screamin' Jay Hawkins. I've always loved that song and his version of it. And Devil with a Blue Dress, Mitch Ryder, and James Williamson. It's just a fun record, and I wanted to show. And oh, I forgot to show you the beautiful orange vinyl. It's just an all-around cool record. Another record I picked up this week was The Proclaimers, Sunshine on Leith. I've always loved this album. Everybody, I think, knows the song 500 Miles. I would walk 500 miles. There's a lot of great... There's not a song on here I don't like. It's just this is a Scottish duo. I'm not sure when this came out. 1988, it looks like. I remember going to a friend, Eric, and I drove from Iowa to Florida one time. It was a long drive, and he had this tape in his car, and I'd not heard it, and he put it in. I loved it so much, I made him play it almost all the way there. I just couldn't get enough of it, so I'm glad to finally get this on vinyl. And another cool find I got, I belong to the Rachel's Ghost Patreon. If you like Rachel's Ghost, the TV show, she has a Patreon, and for like $1 a month, they have these kind of behind the scene things where you can discuss things with her. And for some reason, she had eBay pulled up, and she saw this original 1966 Capitol Rubber Soul record, and she said, "Oh wow, that's pretty cool. It's only $22." At the time, I was a little low on funds. I'm like, do I really need another Rubber Soul record? But then I got that notice you get from eBay. Hey, the price has dropped on this. Are you interested now? And it had dropped to $16, and I'm like, I gotta buy it. The cover is kind of beat up, but the record is VG++. Another thing I like to do is I like to go on and do some of these online auctions. Rob from The Waxed, I like his the best. He usually has stuff. I don't ever find like grails or anything like that. Rob is way more into the jazz than rock and roll and pop music, but he does offer a lot of stuff that I want back in my collection that I've had at one time, or maybe I've never had it and I really want it in my collection, and I can get it at a good price. One thing about Rob, he's very meticulous about his record grading. He's very prompt with sending stuff, packs it well, always throws in an extra record. So I wanted to thank Rob for that. But the last auction he had, these records showed up the other day. I haven't had a chance to listen to them all, but I have not had Rush on vinyl in my collection for some time, and I wanted to get this. Got it for a very good price. Haven't played it yet. I also got the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Are You Experienced? This is the third copy I have of this. I wasn't really super excited about this, but it was in a bundle with Jimi Hendrix Experience Smash Hits, which is a record I wanted in my collection, and I got it really cheaply. He gave me a good deal on that. And then this is the record he threw in for free. It's an Elton John record, which is good because it's Rock of the Westies. It's one I don't have. So that is my vinyl experience for the week. So now I want to go into some of the more personal daily activity of Mark Morse. Last Friday, for example, I went out of the house to go see some bands. Now, by nature, I'm a reclusive person. It's been kind of a problem for me. I don't really like to be outside the house. I go to work, I come home, I take my dog out. That's kind of how I like it. Not very many people have ever come into the Mark Morse domain. A few have, but I'm a very reclusive person. But I've decided lately I need to get out more. I need to see and experience more things. And so last Friday, there was a local tavern called Pallister Brothers, and they were sponsoring a night they called Punk at Pallister's, and they had a lineup of punk bands that were playing. So I got with my friend Amy. I asked Amy if she'd be interested in seeing some punk bands with me. One of the bands is a band called The Least Worst, and my friend Andy Kettle plays in it, and I really wanted to see him. I'd not seen him for a long time play, so Amy agreed to go down with me, and it was a fun night, and I got to see my friend. And then let me show you a quick clip of the band in action. So that was my friend Andy playing the bass for The Least Worst. Jason Bollinger, another friend of mine, was on drums. I cannot remember the guitar player's name. I'm so sorry. But Andy runs a label here in town. It's a grindcore label primarily. He produces grindcore CDs and tapes. Mortville Noise. So I believe he has a presence on YouTube. I'll link to Mortville Noise down below. Let's talk about books. I'm very excited because I didn't realize in this day and age you can still find reasonably priced books online, shipped to you, and they're such good quality. So I was shopping around on eBay, mostly looking for records, and then I got this suggestion. I bought several Beatle books online. This thing popped up for $4.38, and it's called The Beatles: A Hard Day's Right by Steve Turner, and it's the stories behind every song. And I'm like, $4.38, the shipping must be like $20 or something, because sometimes you see that. The shipping was free, and I'm like, what do I have to lose? I imagined it was going to be a thin little book, probably not worth anything. It showed up, and this thing it's like a little brick, and it's really good quality. It's, of course, a used book, but it came from Thrift Books. I kept the wrapper so I wouldn't forget where it came from. Thrift Books on eBay, and I looked through their catalog. They have a lot of good books, and they're all for like $4 or $5 with no shipping fees. And if they're the same quality as this, I'll be getting a lot of stuff from there. But this is really cool. It has lots of interesting photographs. I keep opening to George. Let's see if I can find somebody else. There's There's John and Paul. Anyway, so you can look up any song, and it has all sorts of little tidbits about them. It's just a nice little reference guide. The other thing I want to talk about, and I'm doing this mostly for Garage Geek.
Welcome to Friday Night Chats with Garage Geek. I hope everyone had a great week.
He has a fascination with comics, and I told him, I used to collect comics in the latter 70s and early 80s. I ended up selling the whole collection so I could pay a water deposit. I sold it for a ridiculously cheap price that I don't ever tell anybody anymore because it's so shameful what I sold those for. And but I still have an interest in special things. I don't buy very many anymore. In fact, the ones I'm going to show you here, I didn't buy at all. People have given them to me as gifts. But this Creature from the Black Lagoon, this is almost a word-for-word reproduction of the famous movie. I'm way into old monster movies, if you didn't know that, but we'll talk about that a little later. But this is really well done. The art by Art Adams from 1993, it looks like. But this is just a fun little book. My friend Colby gave me this for my birthday one year, and I've always treasured it. David from Garage Geek says, I think that's worth a little money, so it doesn't matter to me. I'll never sell it. Unless it's worth a lot of money, maybe I would. But I wanted to show that off. And then another book, our little comic magazine my brother got me. My brother Tom buys me lots of stuff. He goes to auctions a lot, and he buys me comics and monster things and Beatles things mostly. But this copy of Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, #1. Beautiful little comic there. And then my brother also, he knows that I'm interested in the art of Robert Crumb. He got me this Zap number 9. I believe this was from 1977. But it has some comics some work by Robert Crumb in it. Anyway, I wanted to show those off just for Garage Geek. And a little throwback to the vinyl section of this video. This is Record Collector News. The editor, Jim, Record Collector News, is on YouTube. Anyway, this is a fine magazine. I get it once a month. My daughter, who lives in Los Angeles, she picks these up at record stores for free. But I wanted to shout out Jim from Record Store News because I really do enjoy these. And it's Johnny Cash is on the cover this month. This is actually, I think this is from last month maybe, but I do enjoy and collect these too. Then I can't talk about books, magazines, and comics without discussing these beauties. These are 2 books by a celebrated author by the name of Mark Morris. That's me, guys. That's me. So I've published 2 books. One is 30 Days, 30 Poems with a foreword by Todd Colby. Todd Colby was the frontman of a band called Drunken Boat. He's an author, artist. Look him up. He does tons of stuff. He's done TV work. He's been on MTV. He's just a very versatile artist, and I was so happy that he agreed to read this and do the forward for me. This is like I wrote 30 poems in 30 days, and just one a day, and I just published what came out. I was very pleased with it. But then I also published a book called Blue Rooms. These are my own paintings on the cover. This is, I call her my niece Lily. We'll be talking about her later in this video, but I use her as an inspiration a lot in my paintings and writings. And this is a collection of works for over decades and decades. So you can see how the work progressed, or maybe didn't progress. Who knows what you think when you read it. But I mentioned Rachel's Ghost and being part of the Patreon. And one of the things they do on the Patreon is Rachel will grab one of these books, just kind of randomly pick a poem out, and then the producer, Sue or Squoozy, she'll read the poem, and we'll have a lot of fun with it. So if you're part of the Rachel's Ghost Patreon, you can hear these readings by Sue, which it's a lot of fun. Now, I want to talk about a couple movies I saw this week. Now, I really enjoy movies. Anybody who's known me for years and years knows that I have a fascination with old monster and science fiction movies. Anything from the 1920s to like 1950s, 60s. Those things are my favorite, especially the 1950s monster and science fiction movies. I just love those things. I just can't get enough of them. But I like to watch real movies too. And this week, I was able to see a couple movies. Again, David from Garage Geek, he wanted to watch a movie called Monolith from 2023. And it's on Amazon Prime. It's one of the things I have, so I was excited that I could watch it. He watched it in Los Angeles. I watched it in Podunk, Iowa. And I think we both had the same conclusion. It's a good movie, described as a slow burn. I'm not going to go greatly into it because Garage Geek has already covered this in his Friday night chat.
Welcome to Friday Night Chats with Garage Geek. I hope everyone had a great week.
I believe part 1. So go ahead and go watch that over there because he's more well spoken about this movie. But I did enjoy the movie. It really is a slow burn. I tend to like those kind of movies where things build and build, and then the conclusion comes, and there's some interpretation involved. One of the things I like about the old 1950s movies is, you know exactly what happened, or if there's a mystery at the end, they just put a question mark at the end of the movie to say, oh, is the creature dead or not? This one you do have to think about a little bit, but it is fun to watch and interpret. So I would recommend it for anybody who's into odd sci-fi and, slow burn movies. Let me tell you what happened to me on Thursday this week. The week was going along, and something happened to me on Thursday. It was like a wave of melancholy washed over me. And I've had these in my life several times, but this seemed like a very powerful wave of melancholy where I just suddenly just very down, had no energy, could hardly focus on anything. And it was Thursday. Then I get a text from, I'm calling her my niece, and I've mentioned her before, Lily. Lily is the daughter of one of my best friends, Colby, and I've known Lily since she was just a child. So she calls me her uncle, and I've been calling her niece, but a few years ago, we bonded over some things, and she feels more like a close friend to me now. So I speak about Lily a lot. Maybe not so much in my vinyl videos, but you'll be hearing a lot about her in these in retrospect videos. Anyway, Lily texts me and asks if I would come over and watch Leon the Professional with her. And so I thought, this might bring me out of my malaise. And it really did. Lily, she's so subtle and so funny. And we watched that movie. I'd seen it, we'd both seen it several times before. I hadn't seen it since probably the early 2000s. I was a little surprised about. There are some pretty cringy scenes in that movie that I had conveniently blocked out in my mind. But it's a young Natalie Portman, and she's orphaned, and she hooks up with this hitman, and she wants to learn to be a hitman. And this hitman kind of takes her in and has sympathy for her, and but there's some scenes where there's like a line that's just. I told Lily, I said, there is no way I'd let my daughter play in this movie. There are just some scenes where they seem to sexualize this 11-year-old Natalie Portman. And there's one scene where she does a Madonna imitation and a Marilyn Monroe imitation. And it's very uneasy to watch. It's hard to watch, and after I got home, I still love the movie, but those scenes I could have done without them. But I looked it up just because I wondered what Natalie Portman thought about that movie now. And she says she has very complicated feelings about it, and that it kind of affected her because, she wanted to make sure she was not sexualized as an actress. But it's a good movie. Spending time with Lily cheered me up. This is more a story about how Lily is important in my life than it is about the movie Leon the Professional. But if you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. But be forewarned, there are some cringy moments in that movie. And this final part of the video, I'm calling odds and ends. It doesn't really fit anywhere in particular in with movies or books and stuff, but just some things that happened over the weekend, kind of a vlog, I guess you would call it. But last weekend, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of geocaching, but it's a thing that me and my friend Colby were really into for several years. We became members of the Iowa Geocachers Organization board of directors for a while, and something about that, it's a 2-year stint, something about that kind of killed the drive in us, and we kind of stopped doing it. But recently we started doing it again, and what it is people hide things all over the world. These things are everywhere. Just go to geocaching.com to see what it's about. But people hide things all over the world, and there's something to sign. You have to sign the document, or it's a piece of paper or something. You have to put your signature on it, and they hide them all over the place. So then coordinates are posted online. You download the coordinates to a GPS, or you can use your phone, and you search these things out. And it's just kind of a cool little hide and seek or scavenger hunt kind of thing. These things are hidden like in Antarctica. They're all over the place. But I drug my poor niece Lily with me. She hates geocaching, but she's just fun to be with, so I wanted her there. And that poor girl, she is a trooper. She does things to make me happy that I know are torturous for her. We ended up driving around for 5-6 hours. That poor girl was in pure misery. Finally got her home. I told her I'd never make her do that again. But one of the things cool about geocaching is it'll take you to these odd places you didn't know existed. In Iowa, a big thing is hiding geocaches in these kind of pioneer cemeteries or cemeteries that are kind of out of the way. In some states, they don't. It's illegal to actually do that, but in Iowa, they're fine with it as long as it's done in a respectful way and you're not intruding on mourners or leaving trash around, that kind of thing. But one of the cool things that happened at this cemetery that kind of relates to the Beatles is we were searching for the geocache so we could sign the log, and my friend Colby said, "Hey, Mark, look at this." And it was a tombstone, and at the bottom of it, it said, "Let it be. Let it be." Kind of a grim reference to the song, but I'll post a picture of that because I found that interesting. Then, later in the week, on a Wednesday, I believe it was, I get a text message from Lily, and she says, "Can you get me to the vet's office at 4 o'clock today?" And I said, "Of course." And what had happened, she has 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a menagerie of other animals. She has lizards, tarantulas, scorpions, all sorts of a variety of spiders. She just loves animals, and the weirder the better. But she has 2 dogs and 2 cats too. Well, what had happened was they have a cat that their cats will bring like dead birds to the porch, and put them down as like, cats do. Well, that day they had done it with a bat. And so she called to see, they were her dad's cats, and she called to see when her dad had last had them vaccinated and stuff to make sure that they were up on the rabies shots. They hadn't had rabies shots since 2019. So she wanted to get them to the vet. Anyway, so I go over to take her over there, and the one cat, Sawyer, she's a black cat, fine, went into the carrier, no problem at all. They have another one named Ornery. I think that's how she says it. It's a gold and white cat. That cat did not like cat carriers, did not like being put in a car. That cat took the biggest crap in that cat carrier on the way there. It was the most disgusting, stinky thing. We're rolling the windows down. I'm blasting the air conditioner, hoping that'll help blow it out the window. But it was quite an experience. We brought him into the vet's office to get their shots, and because she didn't know which one had brought the bat, so she wanted to get them both vaccinated. But it was the stinkiest experience. And then the doctor came in, and he was not impressed with the stinky cat, and made Lily take it out and everything. That cat fought. Anyway, that was my exciting experience on Wednesday. And then last night, this is truly the week in retrospect. Last night, Friday night, after work, my friend Amy asked if I'd like to go out to eat and get some drinks. We'd both had kind of a bad week. And so the end of my week started like the beginning of it. Amy and I at a tavern, enjoying each other's company. That's how the weekend ended. So then today, I went out, got some ice cream with Lily and the dogs. My dog Elsa, who will definitely show up in these videos a lot. But we got some ice cream, and then I started preparing this video. And that is the week in retrospect. So I wanted to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If it goes well, I do plan to do this every week on probably Saturday, but maybe Sundays if I'm rushed for time. I did enjoy doing this. I wanted to thank Garage Geek again for not only giving me the idea, but letting me steal his idea. And then all the people that I see every day that don't have YouTube channels. My friends Colby and Lily, Andy Kettle from The Least Worst. It was fun getting with you this week and watching your band. Of course, Luxy, my daughter. I love you very much, Luxy. And Greg, my friend in New York. I'm going to show a couple pictures here as I'm talking. Greg sent me a picture of a place in Chinatown called Mark's Wine and Spirits, and sent me the picture. And then around the same time, my daughter Luxy sent me Morse Upholstery out in Los Angeles. And they both came in around the same time, and I thought it was kind of interesting that they both had seen my name and had taken pictures and sent them to me. I think that would be a great idea, guys. If you see something that says Mark or Morse or Mark Morse on it, that would be awesome. If you could send those to me, and it could be a regular part of the show. I could actually do a gallery of stuff. When I lived in San Lorenzo and Hayward, California years ago, there was a place called Mark Morse Tires, and there was a building very near to where I lived, and all along the top of it, I think it was in blue background and white print, it just said Mark Morse, Mark Morse, Mark Morse, Mark Morse, Mark, all around the top of the building. And I was always amused by that. I like seeing my name, I guess. And then I wanted to thank my friend Amy for starting the week with me, or the weekend with me, and ending the week with me. Made for a nice bookend there, Amy. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for coming along for the ride. And I'll talk to you again later.